A few weeks ago, Oregon State controlling its own Rose Bowl destiny was just a footnote that we tacked on to any Pac-10 discussion. Now it's almost a reality. So will the Beavers or Trojans make it to Pasadena? Will Oregon State win and therefore go to the Rose Bowl? What will that mean for USC? The surprising answers coming up in just 2.5 minutes. Oregon State looking to stay in the Pac-10 race or on top of the Pac-10 race with a win over Cal. First quarter special teams, James Rogers getting it done for Oregon State.
Well, they took a punt back in this game as well for 56 yards, so the kicking game was huge for Oregon State.
Extra point made it 7-7. Third quarter, Javid Best. I think he goes untouched here, Coach. A sprint from 65 yards out for a touchdown. The Golden Bears trail by just 6 at 27-21. Late in the fourth quarter, though, Kevin Riley looking to his right and finding Keenan Lewis. Keenan Lewis would not only find the football, but also the end zone. The Beavers go on to win 34-21. Oregon State in control of its own destiny in the Pac-10. So that win moved Oregon State to 6-1 in Pac-10 play, and as I said, kept them in control of their Rose Bowl destiny. But punching their ticket to Pasadena, it won't be easy. The Beavers are at Arizona Saturday before hosting Oregon the next Saturday. USC, meanwhile, is idle this week. They host Notre Dame November 29th. With Oregon State thoughts ready to roll, Mike Mayock is back with us. Charles Davis also rejoins us with Oregon State on his mind. So, Charles, 2 Beaver victories equal a trip to the Rose Bowl for the first time since 1965. Do you see that happening?
Somewhere Terry Baker will be smiling because I think it's going to happen. I think that Oregon State, as it has been traditional under Mike Riley, September on the road against a non-conference opponent, they will get decimated. They did it again this year at Penn State. And then you look up at the end of the year and you say, did Oregon State win 9, 8, 10 games? The answer is almost always yes. Oregon State gets these 2 wins, goes to the Rose Bowl, USC wins out, and takes a second BCS berth for the Pac-10. The Beavers in the Rose Bowl.
You know what, Charles? I'm kind of with you. I look at this and say, why not? I mean, as it stands today, they'll be favored in both these games. And when I look at the game played last week by the 2 teams they have to play, Arizona played Oregon last week, and in an ugly game with 100 points scored, Oregon prevailed. Why shouldn't Oregon State beat these 2 teams? And I'll tell you who I like. On offense, Sammy Straughter, their wide receiver, is one of the toughest kids in the country. He missed the entire season in 07. He's got 52 catches, averaging over 10 yards of punt return, but he personifies the toughness. You ought to see him on tape knocking down defensive backs and linebackers. He and Andy Levitre, their left tackle. I look at this team and say, why not? I mean, trust me, I don't believe in Arizona. I don't believe in Oregon, so why the heck not?
Hey, guys, I'm with you. Tommy Prothero will be smiling. Trust me, the coach I played for at UCLA, he was at Oregon State, took them to the Rose Bowl, came down the next year and took us to the Rose Bowl. He'll be the happiest guy up in heaven. But I think they can do it as well. Here's why. Rogers is a great little running back. Now, this guy is hard to find. He's elusive. He's tough. He makes yards. They've got an offensive football team. They can put points on the board and dominate the time of possession with their offensive team. The other thing about Oregon State I think goes unnoticed is their defensive football team. 15th in the country. You know, they have speed at defensive end. They can make plays with pass rushes. And I believe they can go and beat a team like Arizona, and they can certainly beat a team like Oregon at home. So I give them a real good chance to get there. It'll be great for the Pac-10 conference if Oregon State can make it.
You know, Charles, the Pac-10 has been owned recently by USC. Pete Carroll just moved to 85-15 in his tenure at SC. That's outstanding. Mike Riley, though, in the past 2+ seasons, October, November, December, he is 20-4. So if someone said to you they were more impressed by Mike Riley at Oregon State than Pete Carroll at USC, what would you say?
No, I would say I understand why, because you're trying to recruit to Corvallis, Oregon, versus trying to recruit to Los Angeles, California, and USC with a tradition of tremendous football. Coach Donahue already laid it out. I mean, if you're talking about the pockets of success that Oregon State has had, Terry Baker comes to mind, Tommy Prothero comes to mind. Talk about the giant killers that beat USC in the late 60s. And after that, you're not talking about a whole lot. Dennis Erickson won there with Mike Riley's team. and then Mike Riley has come back and continued. So I can see where you would say that. It's a great head-to-head matchup, and they're probably going to end up co-champs, and Oregon State will win the tiebreaker.
You know, you still have to play games in September, guys. And Pete Carroll's undefeated in November, but you can't start the season out losing to Stanford and getting waxed by Penn State, and then at the end of the day telling everybody that, you know, you want to play in the Rose Bowl. That rubs me the wrong way, although I admit that they're probably going to win the Pac-10 and go there.
Good point, Mike. Very good point.